I'm Anil Kumar. Welcome to my series on basic mathematics. We are going to learn some skills in this particular video. Mainly, we'll try to solve questions related to ratios, percent, and weighted mean. We have 10 questions here. They're very tricky, and such questions are normally seen in test papers. I would like you to pause the video, answer each and every question, and then look into my solutions. Let's begin with the very first one, which is extremely interesting. A person walking with 3/4 of his usual speed reached office 20 minutes late. His usual time in minutes is what? We are given 4 options. You can pause the video, answer this question, and then look into my suggestions. Well, I like to show you the solution of this using 2 different methods. As we understand, distance divided by speed is time. Now, if the person is walking with the standard speed, he takes time t. Let us assume the distance to the office is d. Now, in this case, the speed is reduced and the time is increased, right? But the distance remains same. So what we get here is distance divided by 3/4 of the speed. 3/4 of the speed is 20 minutes more than previous time. This is t plus 20. You get an idea, right? So that is what it is. Now, whenever you have fractions, it's a good idea to write them not with layers, right? So 3/4 in the denominator could be written as 4/3, right? And here we have distance over speed equals to t plus 20. Is that clear to you? Now we know distance over speed is t, right? So we know this part, which is distance over speed is t, right? Standard distance, standard speed, standard time. So this can be replaced with t. So with that replacement, what we get here is 4/3, and this is t, is equals to t plus 20. Now we have a equation only with t, and we can just solve it. Multiply both sides by 3. So we get 4t equals to 3 times t plus 20. I could write this as 4t equals to 3t plus 6t. Taking this on the left side, 4t minus 3t equals to 6t, or t equals to 60, right? So we get our solution B as the right solution. Is that clear to you? Correct? Now, we could also do the same question by understanding that this is not a direct ratio. This is inverse ratio, right? Inverse relation, right? So if speed increases, time decreases. If speed decreases, time increases, correct? So it is an inverse ratio, perfect. And therefore, in inverse ratio, we know speed into time will be constant, which is, distance in this case, right? This constant is distance, right? So which we have the same distance, correct? So we could use which is the distance, basically. So we could use this relation to equate, right? So in one case, we have 3/4 of the speed, and the time is t plus 20. On the other side, the distance and speed and time are standard, so we get this equation. Now we could cancel speed and speed, s and s, and then solve. So if I open this, we get 3 times t plus 20 equals to, take on the other side, 4t, right? So we get 3t plus 60 equals to 4t, or we have 60 equals to 4t minus 3t, which is t. So we again get the same answer, however, in lesser number of steps, right? So in either case, we have used the same relation, which is distance over speed is time, right? So I hope the solutions are clear. This is a preferred method, however, it is tricky. Now let's look into question number 2. A person covers 9 kilometers at a speed of 3 kilometers per hour and 25 kilometers at the speed of 5 kilometers per hour. His average speed was how much, right? So when we want to find the average speed, we want to say what is the total distance, and we need to divide this by total time. Is that clear? So we need to find what is the total distance, right? So let's make a small table here which can help us to just put the data together. So what we are saying, we want distance. So we have a person covers 9 kilometers, that is our distance, 9 kilometers, with a speed of 3 kilometers per hour, right? And then the person covers 25 kilometers with the speed of 5 kilometers. So let's find time now. So distance divided by speed is time. 9 divided by 3 is 3 hours, right? And here 25 divided by 5 is 5. So what total do we get? Let's add this up. So when you add, you get 34 here. And as far as the time is concerned, we need total distance and total time. We get 8, right? And therefore, the average speed is what? Average speed is 34 divided by 8, correct? So 8 times 4 is 32, right? So we get 20. 8 times 2 is 16 and 44.25. Option B is the correct option. Is that clear to you? So that is how you could solve this question. So both of them were related to distance, speed, and time. Now the next question here is based on percent. Question number 3. A store offers 20% discount on all the items. If the discounted price of a shirt is 68, find the original price of the shirt, right? So the original price has to be higher, correct? So let's say original price is O, correct? O, right? O is the original price, let's say. So store offers 20% discount on all the items if the discounted price is 68. So when we say 20% off, right? So when you say 20% discount, it means what? It means you pay how much? You do not pay 100%, you pay only 80%. Do you see that? So 80% means 0.8, right? So this original price times 0.8 is 68, right? Because you paid 68. So the original price should be equal to 68 divided by 0.8, correct? That should give you the answer. Now when you're dividing by decimals, it's a good idea to kind of write like this: 680 divided by 8, for example. Is that clear? You could simplify and then get the answer, right? We want approximate, so or you could do long division, right? So let me just do long division here, right? I could always simplify this. We can divide both by 4, for example. Anyway, let's do long division straight away, because these are also not big numbers. 8 times 8 is 64, correct? And what you get here is 40. 8 times 5 is 40. So we get our price as 85. Is that clear to you, right? So we get a price of 85 on this particular item, and that becomes your answer. So I hope you understand all these steps. You can also check your answer, and that is to say, you already have the result 85. You can on the side figure out what is 85 times 0.8. You should get 68, right? That is what is expected, right? So you get 68.0 in this case. Anyway, let's move on to question number 4, which is find the cost before tax if the cost after 15% tax is $23. That means it increased, right? You added the taxes. Now clearly, if the calculator is not allowed, what you could do is, you could choose one of these answers. Let's say 20, right? So 15% means what? 15% means 10% plus 5%. Do you see that? So on $20, the 10% is 2 and half of 2 is 1. So we do get 23. Do you see that? So that becomes our solution straight away. So if the calculator is not allowed, since it involves a division by 1.15, in that case you could do this way, right? You are given the options. Well, if you want to do the calculation, you know that after 15% it is 23. That means if the cost is C, then 1.15 of C is 23, right? So C is 23 divided by 1.15. So most probably for this you'll be calculator will be allowed. So 23 divided by 1.15 should give you the answer, which is 20, correct? Otherwise do the division, right? Okay, but I think this is a better approach. Now let's get to question number 5. It says, outer ring road is a circular road that runs around the city. If the difference between the circumference of the outer and the inner edge of this circular road is 66 meters, that means we have two roads. We have a big road, highway, which is quite wide, right? So we are saying that the circumference between the two, from here, 2 pi r, 2 pi r, if the difference between the circumference of the outer and the inner edge of the circular road is 66, find the width of this road, right? So let us say capital R is outside radius, small r is inside. So in that case, we know 2 pi capital R minus 2 pi small r, that difference is 66. Is it clear to you? That's what it means, right? Now, we need to find the width. That means we need to find what is capital R minus r, right? So when we say width, which is capital R, so we can say 2 pi r minus r is 66, correct? So r minus r is 66 divided by 2 pi. Now pi is 22 over 7. So we could write this as 66 over 2 times 22 over 7. Pi is in the denominator. So write 22 over 7. Is that clear to you? That is how you're going to write. And now calculation is slightly simpler. 22, 66 goes 3 times, right? So what you get here is 7 times 3 is 21, and we have to divide 21 by 2, so it is half of 21, which is 10.5. So we get B as our answer. Is that clear to you, right? So that is how you have to do it. Remember, this distance is difference between the two radius, right? So R minus R is width of this road, right? Question number 6. Math test paper is in 2 parts where every question is worth 1 mark. In part A, which is 15 questions, Peter got 60% marks. His overall mark was 75%. How many questions did he answer correctly in part B with 13 questions? Well, so that means we have combination of 15 and 13 questions, right? So in part A, Peter answered 60% marks, means 60 correct answer. So 60% means 0.6 of, means multiply 15 is how much? 6 times 5 is 30, so that is with this decimal 3. Then we get 9. So that means Peter answered 9 correct answers. Do you see? Correct answers are 9. Then only you get 9 out of 15, which is 60%. Now we are saying that overall it is 75%, right? So overall means what? Total. So total questions are 15 plus 13, which is 28. So Peter got 75% of 28. Do you understand? 75% marks of 28. So 75% means 0.75 times 28, right? So 75 is 3 over 4, right? So in decimals, it is 3 over, decimals could be written as fractions, times 28. We can now divide this by 7 times 4, and we get 21. So in total, he should have answered 21 correct, right? 9 already answered. So out of 13, it should have been 21 minus 9. So those many correct answers, right? So which is 11 take away 9 is 2. We get 12. So 12 is the correct answer. So I hope you understand the steps, right? Since we got 75% from the total, 75% of total is 21. You could multiply 0.75 with 28 also, right? However, this is better. It's kind of important to understand this step. So when I say, let me redo this portion, right? 75% means 75 over 100. So dividing by 25, we get 3 over 4. So 0.75 is same as 3 over 4, which I've used here. Is that clear to you? Perfect. So that is how it should be done. Next question here is, there are 28 students in my class. Today, 3 girls left early for dance practice, and so the 3 are only 44% girls. So there are only 44% girls present. Okay. So let's read it again. There are 28 students in my class. 3 girls left early. So 28 minus 3 girls left, right? So we have 25 students. Now today 3 girls left early for dance practice, and so there are only 44% girls. So this 25, after leaving 3 girls have left, we have 44% girls present, right? So we have 44% girls. So 44% of 25 is how much? That is what, right? So those many girls are left. So we're talking about these girls. So you could do like this, 44 over 100, you could do that. So that is easy, 44 over 100. So whenever you see 25, 25 goes 4 times, correct? So it becomes simpler. So it goes 4 times, 44 divided by 4 is 11. So once 3 girls left, there are 11 girls, right? So we have total number of girls as 11 and 3 left, which is 14. The question is, find the percent of boys in my class of 28. Well, there are 14 girls. So therefore, boys will be how many? Boys will be 28 minus 14, which is also 14, correct? So what percent of boys in my class? So 14 out of 28, half, 50%, right? Times 100 gives me 50%. So the class we have 50% girls and 50% boys. Option C is the right option. Is that clear to you? I'd like you to understand what we did here. There are 28 students, 3 girls left, 25 girls left. 25 girls are now in the class, and this 25 is 44%. So 44% of 25 is 11. Total number of girls actually in the class were 11 plus 3, 14. Out of 28, 14 are girls, 14 will be boys, 50-50, correct? So 50% is the right answer. Question number 8. The ratio of boys to girls in my class of 40 students is 3:5. So we have 40 students, and now within this we have 3:5 as the ratio of boys to girls, correct? So these are the students. In a math test, the average grade of girls is 90%. So they get 90% on average, and the boys has 80%. Boys have 80%. Find the class average, right? That's the question. You can pause the video and answer this question, right? Okay, let's first figure out if the ratio is 3:4, how many boys and how many girls, right? 80% for boys, 90% for girls. It is a case of weighted mean. Correct? Now, out of 40, we have to get this ratio, but 3 plus 4 is basically 8. So out of 40, we have to multiply both by 5. So what we get here is 15 boys and 25 girls. So that becomes the set, right? So there are 15 boys and 25 girls in a class of 40. Average of boys is 80, average of girls is 90, right? So now we can get the mean. So average, what is the class average? So class average will be, so these are the marks scored by the boys, right? So 80 times 15 boys plus 90 times 25 divided by total number of boys and girls, which is 40. Is that clear to you? That is how we are going to find it. Now let's calculate this. So I'm using the calculator. If not allowed, then you could use the calculations manually, right? So we have 80 times 15 plus 90 times 25, and we are going to divide this by 40. We get what? We get 86.25 as our answer, right? So we are expecting slightly higher than the mid value, so that seems to be okay. So we'll go to 86%, which is rounded nearest, correct? Last two questions now. Well, we are almost at the end. I'd like you to pause the video and answer these questions yourself. Question number 9. 4 boys can paint the basement in 5 hours. How long will 3 boys take to complete this job, right? So the easiest way to answer this is, we are saying 4 boys can paint basement in 5 hours. So for basement, what do we need? We need 4 boys and 5 hours, correct? That means 20 boys hour. Is that okay? That is what we need. How long will 3 boys do it? So for 3 boys, if I divide this by 3, how long will 3 boys take? If I divide this by 3 boys, then boys and boys cancel. We get hours, right? So 20 divided by 3 is our answer, correct? So let's divide 20 by 3. So we get 20 divided by 3. Well, the answer is in hours and minutes. So 20 times 6 is 18. So 18 2 over 3, right? Okay, so 2 over 3 we have to convert to minutes. So we get 2 over 3 times 60, which is, this goes 2 times, right? So 20 times 2 is 40 minutes. So we get 40 minutes. 6 hours, 40 minutes, which is option C. Is that clear to you? Now this is a very good trick. We are actually writing units and working out with units. Boys and hours, right? 4 boys and 5 hours. Now we're left with 5 boys. Just divide boys, boys cancel. You get hours on the top. That's what you need. How many hours will 3 boys take? Okay, question number 10. Last question. Very interesting. Which of the following is true for non-zero integers if a is greater than b? Which one is correct? So let's say if a is 10, and let's say which is greater than b, then 1 over 10, and this is 1, we know 1 is greater, right? So that could be the answer. We have an option here, and it is on purpose. It says, above options are not always true. I think this is the answer. Can you tell me why? Can you give me a reason? So the question for you is, provide reason. Why option C is correct? So write this in your comments. I'll also give you my answer in the comments. So I hope that helps. So overall, this is a very good exercise which gives you fairly good introduction to many skills required for most of the tests. And I hope that helps. Feel free to write your comment, share your views, and share your questions. Thank you once again.